This is April.
And this is Tiffany.
And you're listening to the Tea of Life podcast.
We hope that you enjoy listening today as we dive into this week's episode.
Gosh, why is this still so hard? Because we're not introducing anybody. Hey guys. Hey, welcome to this week. It's Tiffany and April. We're just talking today.
Yes, we are just talking today.
Okay, so you guys, this is episode 20, and that in and of itself is really exciting. Tiffany, do we have any updates on the Forever We dolls?
We have had 6 dolls donated to Cincinnati Children's Hospital in honor of Carson.
That's really great.
Isn't that great?
If you'll remember back in episode 18 when we interviewed Forever We, Chantel, we mentioned just a call to action for maybe 5 dolls.
Right.
And so now we have 6.
Right. And I know that there are quite a few people who have said that they actually are planning on donating some dolls as well. So hopefully we'll have a lot more come through.
That's awesome. Thank all of you listeners for just stepping up and just helping out, and just, you all know they can really appreciate your prayers and the dolls too. That's great.
Yeah, so if anybody is still interested in donating a Forever We doll, you can do that still. Just go to foreverwe.org, pick out your doll, and it comes with a book as well, and just pick out the doll that you want and have it sent to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Or you can send it to any children's hospital that you desire, but that was just the one that we picked. And if you're listening to this and you have not actually listened to episode 18 and have absolutely no idea what we're talking about whatsoever,
clue them in.
We would like for you to go back and listen to that and find out exactly about what Forever We is all about, and about the donating a doll in honor of Carson.
Exactly. So yes, thank you. Also, I wanted to give thanks. We have succeeded our goal. We have 300 download records for this month, and
oh my goodness, for me, I haven't even looked at that. Wow.
Yeah. We just succeeded our goal from last month. So every month we just get more and more listeners, and we so appreciate that. We appreciate every single person that comes to the podcast through however iTunes or whatever options there are out there, website. I just thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the encouragement I got today at church. I was stopped by someone that says, my wife loves your podcast, and kind of shared some things from an episode that she had listened to rather. That just meant so much to me when people tell me that, when people either write something on the website or write a review or stop me somewhere and say, hey. And at first it's taken aback. So I'm like, what are you talking about? What a podcast? Oh, yeah. So I'm just very thankful.
Yeah, that's really cool. I actually had the same thing happen last week as well. I was told that somebody had listened to the podcast, and it was our minimalism organizing podcast episode. And so they were suddenly interested and encouraged and inspired to go home and possibly start minimizing and cleaning out and kind of decluttering and kind of simplifying their home. So that was encouraging that they actually got that encouragement from listening to our podcast. So that was really cool.
That's really great. And I just had an idea. I should write a list of things that if people want to get rid of at their house that I am currently taking. Like some furniture, mirror, just if you want to get rid of this, that'd be great. Send it on my way. Yes. So thank you. Okay. And I want to introduce another little segment.
Okay.
It's called All That and a Bag of Chips.
Okay. All That and a Bag of Chips. Do I get a bag of chips?
You do not get a bag of chips, but bear with me for a second. I was thinking about a friend of mine that I really was like, hey, I need to write her and I need to tell her that I think she's awesome and she's all that in a bag of chips. And that made me think, oh, that'd be a great segment for podcast. And the all that in a bag of chips, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, the all that part was used to mean impressive back in 1989. So I'm getting this from the website from Oxford English Dictionary. I looked up that phrase. So then it said in the mid-90s, people started using all that in a bag of chips to mean good plus extra. And we've heard this, you've heard this expression, we hear it all the time, and I just thought it'd be fun. It says the online slang dictionary suggests that phrase may be used to announce your superiority or over someone who is already all that. It's like you're one-upping. But in this phrase, we just mean it in sincerity. Like, we really like you. We think you're awesome. And we just want to say that you're all that in a bag of chips. So this All That in a Bag of Chips episode is dedicated to teachers in the South going back to work this week.
So really, just teachers in the South, not teachers in the North?
And teachers in the North go back maybe after Labor Day. So you can have a bag of chips. They go back because they get out later.
Like oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
Well, I remember, like, growing up, used to teachers in the South.
That's true.
Would go back after Labor Day because that's when we
That's
went
true.
back to school. Was after Labor Day, and then we would still get out before Memorial Day.
oh yeah, yeah. I don't know how that.
We had a long summer when we were
I know.
kids.
I was just talking to
Yes.
someone else today about that. They liked that long summer break versus the intermittent weeks in there.
Yeah, and I'm still in denial that school is starting back, even though we homeschool.
Right.
And we're flexible with our time somewhat, but I'm still in denial. Like I'm not interested in starting school back anytime soon. So
Right. So I thought in this episode, in the timing of it all, the teachers, we're just going to give you some kudos. We want to recognize the teachers are going back to the work this week after a grueling 8-week break. 8 weeks. So,
I don't think it's been 8 weeks. Has it really been 8 weeks?
Well, we've probably gotten 10, or they have to stay on. So I was thinking 8 to 10, but like I'm totally joking. I mean, no disrespect with your long summer breaks, teachers. My mom's a teacher, got friends who are teachers. You guys and gals are so important to us, and your sanity is important, and that's why that long break helps, probably to restore that sanity. And I used to work for the school system for the sole reason of just the fact that we got out for the whole summer. And I also saw this. Maybe a lot of you have seen the Facebook post there's a picture, and the picture, it's a shelves full of liquor. And there's a little back to school emblem up top, and then it says, "Finally, they remembered the teachers." For teacher supplies.
The shelves are like in the schoolroom.
Yeah, well, that's like if you go to a Walmart, it just focuses on one one section of shelving unit, and they've got like all kinds of liquor. And so then there's a little back to school. When you go into Walmart or Target and you see the back to school supplies.
Okay.
So finally, they're like, "Oh, finally somebody remembered the teachers," and it was about the liquor. So
That is awesome.
So teachers, we raise our beverage and bag of chips to you. Thank you for investing in our children and thinking of ways to engage their minds and encourage their talents and giftings. Cheers and munch on the potato chips that we don't have. But speaking of chips,
Yes.
my favorite bag is the dill pickle Lay's potato chips. And a close second is the sea salt and pepper kettle chips. What about you?
Ooh. I love chips. I can sit and eat like an entire bag of chips.
Okay.
I love chips. I would have to say that one of my favorites is, now, do I need to state all my favorites, or just are we going to do this once a week?
You can have another time if you have a...
Okay. One of my favorites is I love Doritos.
Yes.
Doritos are good.
Throw some MSG on me and those Doritos, and
And just a little side note about Doritos. If you're ever out and you need to start a fire, Doritos are excellent fire starters.
Doritos, like... Wow, is that possible?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So it's kind of alarming that we actually eat it. And it's a good fire starter.
I do like Doritos.
Yeah,
I like the regular red bag, not the blue Cool Ranch bag or the extra.
I don't care what color the
Really?
bag is. I just like Doritos.
You're a non-discriminatory bag.
I am. I do
Dorito
not
eater?
discriminate between my bag colors.
Okay, before that goes anywhere south. Okay. What? Now that it's the end of summer, according to the school year calendar, right? Because you can look outside and clearly it's not the end of summer. But I was thinking, okay, now that it's the end of summer and according to the school year calendar, people get back into the routine mode and start to pile on the busy lifestyle. So we've been talking about this. We'll see where we're going. So with the new year ahead of us, it's easy to get back into the beauty of the routine. It's easy to get enticed by the beauty of routine. I like routines. Routines aren't bad per se. They're helpful to take out stress over decision making. For example, meal planning for the week and prep time takes out stress of the 4:30, what are we going to eat tonight? Kind of the mentality. Does that sound familiar? So I am not there yet. Like I don't plan my meals. I wish I did, because that would take a lot of stress out. But so those kind of routines, like what am I going to wear, are helpful routines. Picking out the night before. Like in the shower, I have the same set of routine. Wash my face, wash my body, wash my hair. That routine, that like checking out my brain, that's okay. I'm not talking about routines right this minute, but I'm talking about the temptation to add more extracurricular activities to our schedules.
Right, because I know that like fall, usually when school starts, football starts, and I know for us now, scouts start back, and there's all kinds of other extracurricular activities that start up in the fall and follow the school year, which means that it's like your calendar can be super packed through that time if we don't say no to some of the things that we need to say no to.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like soccer practice on Tuesdays, piano on Wednesdays, ballet on Thursdays. What if we just picked one extracurricular and focused on that? Like that. What's that expression? Jack of all trades, master of none. Like just pick one.
Right.
This semester and do it. Because
Right. So focus on one thing and master that and then move on.
Because we can easily jump back into autopilot, do mode, and disconnect our brain. So my friendly reminder here is there's still time to end summer well. So ending summer well. Transition into the school year by making sure you've done all that you want to do this summer. Or if there's still too much you want to do, learn to let go and maybe sprinkle those events in during other times of the year. So what I was thinking of is say, hey, schedule that last hurrah that you want to accomplish before it's the end of summer and do that because it's not too late. And then take your breath, recite or craft a family mission statement. So you write your goals for this school year that reflect that mission statement. Frequently remind yourself of your mission statement so that when events or invites come your way, you can put them through that filter.
One of the things that we need to remember too is that anytime we say yes, like we can say yes to soccer, we can say yes to piano, we can say yes to scouts, we can say yes to, birthday parties, we can say yes to all these different things. But saying yes doesn't always mean we're saying yes. Every time we say yes, we're saying no to something else.
Right.
We can't say yes without saying no. There is no yes without a no.
Right. I like it.
Right. Because otherwise the yes would not even be needed. Whenever we say yes to all those things, we're saying no to other things.
Right.
And so things that we're saying no to would be maybe family time, family dinner, maybe eating healthy because we're constantly going through drive-thrus or whatever, eating frozen dinners because we're trying to be quick. We don't have much time between this activity and this activity. We're saying no to just simple living.
Right.
We're saying no to just sitting and having quiet time. Anytime we're constantly doing stuff, we're just saying no to something else.
Right. And I know we talked about the freedom to say no, and which is why I think going into this episode, what do we want to say or encourage? It's like, before you get into schooling mode, wherever you are, homeschool, private school, public school, wherever you are, take a breath and get back to that family mission statement. What is your mission statement, life statement? Write your, like I said, write your goals for this year. Somebody, I think in our earlier podcast with the second homeschooling podcast that we did with Jennifer, she's talking about writing goals. Oh, this could be something else I listened to, but we're talking about writing goals for your family. So when things come your way, when you get an invite, when you get an activity, if it's not going to bring you joy, if it's going to take time, if it's not going to benefit you, then just have the freedom to say no.
And I think that one thing that we can also be mindful of is every time we say yes, yes to this thing, think about what you're saying no to. Don't just say, oh yeah, we'll go to the birthday party, or yeah, we'll go and we'll do that event or that lesson or whatever it is that you want to do or what your kid wants to do. Like literally take a step back and think about what you're saying no to in order for you to say that yes.
What's
and
that
then
sacrifice?
weigh it and see if it's actually worth it or not.
Yes.
And really, like, our kids are going to be okay if they're not in every activity that they ever want to do.
Right.
They don't have to fit in all these activities before they become 18.
Right.
It's not our job as parents to make sure that they have all these things under their belts. I mean, they can, once they get out of the house and they go to college, then they can maybe pick up another trade or something that they want to do.
Exactly.
Another athletic ability, or whatever that they want to learn. But we don't have. It's not our job as parents to stress out our kids and to completely like just fill up their time with activities, thinking that this is going to help them be better as adults. Because a lot of times these kids get so stressed out and they get so overwhelmed when they become adults, they have anxiety disorders because of just being stretched to the limit so much as kids. And plus, you know what? We have to give them something to need counseling for. And so once they get to a certain point, if my kid says, my mom never gave me piano lessons when I was a kid, you know what? You're welcome. You have something for counseling.
That's exactly right. So we've gotten the point of just kind of taking, before you do something, take your break. And I felt that filter of whatever your mission statement is a good filter. So I was also thinking, and speaking of Oxford, the Oxford English Dictionary that we were speaking of just a little while ago, I was researching mindfulness and back to school, and I came across this website called .be, DOTBE.org. If you're going to type it up, DOTBE.org is going to pull it up for you. So there's the reference. So I found this interesting. Let me get back to my notes. I thought you'd find this interesting. And it's the UK's leading mindfulness curriculum for 11 to 18-year-olds in their schools. So this is a curriculum that they're putting in place. They're recognizing the busyness of life and of the world, and they're teaching the kids. And you can go on .be, .be, DOTBE.org, and there's 9 lessons to help you it'll take you through little lessons about mindfulness and explains more about mindfulness, breathing, just stopping and just being. So it's the .be stands for stop and be. Stop and just be yourself. It's a simple practice, and it's got 10 lesson course is what it says here. But so I thought that was interesting. It's like we're all so busy. Why don't we take on that same aspect? I remember working in the school system, special education. We would often have some of the kids, or some of the special ed teachers would have the kids do brain gym just to kind of get their different little activities to get their selves centered and focused. And they would do that periodically.
I remember that. I think I did some of that with the boys in their earlier years of homeschooling. I think, was that where you got them to draw things with their right arm and their left one, the same thing?
You could do that.
Literally or they would do,
No, you can keep going.
No, I'm saying, go ahead.
Or one was you take your arms out like you're going to dive, and then put your hands back to back, fold them. You'd have to put your tongue to the top of your mouth and hold, do these different things that kind of challenge your brain, but it kind of helps center or refocus. So I thought that was very cool. And I thought, wow, I'm going to start doing some of that when we do homeschool days. I wanted to add yoga. There's yoga, mindfulness, all these activities, just kind of, center yourself, meditation. We're going to talk about those in other podcast episodes because that's what we love. But I thought, okay, in light of school, here's something that UK is doing, something that teachers can even add. It doesn't take long at all. And just going on that website and hearing the students give, testimony and feedback about the whole program is kind of encouraging. So I thought that was cool. Another thing another website I was following is called mindful.org, and they have they're talking about 2 things for back to school, and one happened to be their 7 to 11 breath activity. So you're I think you breathe in for a count of 7, and you breathe out for a count of 11. And they have another activity on there. But I thought, just in the light of we are setting a new pace, you have a fresh slate to start this school year off. Are you going to start it off hurried and stressed out? Or are you going to start it off with being mindful, doing things on purpose, intentionally? So that's where I was going with that episode,
right.
This episode.
And I don't know, you remember last episode where we interviewed John Mays and he talked about that book, 10% Happier?
Yes.
So I'm going to get that book and I'm going to read it. And I think that would be really cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This is great. I know that you and I have been talking a lot about our passion, about simplicity, simplifying. And a lot of speaking for myself, my minimalism practices have been basically just kind of clearing my calendar, just being able to say no. And that's a word that I feel like as a society,
yes.
we need to relearn.
Okay, let's practice. Sometimes we can role play, like ask me to do something. Like, hey, can you come, blah, 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 blah. Or we'll do this. Okay. Hey, Tiffany, do you want to come to my charity event tomorrow night at 7:00 during your home group time?
No.
That was kind of awful. It made it sound like you're a stickler. Like, she won't go to my charity event. What good are you? No.
I know. Could you have picked something else?
I know, right? Well, this is like, I do. Seriously, I have role playing. I mean, not.
Just like,
oh, I'm sorry. That was my note to husband.
Right now, a little weird.
No, I have role-playing scenarios. When someone invites you to something, tell them you'll get back to them. Or tell them, like, what would you say? So when you're not stuck and you'll go, okay, oh, my calendar's wide open for you. It's like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that because blah, blah, blah. Or let me get back to you.
But here's the thing is I think that we need to be okay hearing the word no, just as much as we learn to say the word no.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Because people aren't saying no to us. They're saying no to our
event. Thing. Yeah.
Okay? And I think that we also need to respect people enough to not make them give us a reason why they cannot.
Right. And not badger them.
Right. And I mean, I don't care why you can't come. I mean, I care.
Right.
But it's not like that big of a deal to me.
Right. You don't need to.
I don't need to know why. Mm-hmm. But if you can't, then that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's totally on you. Yeah.
You don't feel pressure to say yes and don't feel pressure to give a reason to say no. Just say, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out for me.
Right.
It's not going to work out for me this time, but all the best to you.
Right. And we need to be okay with that. We need to not be so insecure that we feel like, oh my gosh, they don't like me.
They don't like me. I'm going to cry. She's not going to go to my charity event. So that's all I got for today. That's it for today. Tune in next time as we continue to dive into life.
In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can find us at teaoflifepodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at teaoflifecast. Until next time, in the words of Monty Python,
make tea, not war.